Ahead on American Sunrise, busted. President Trump says he is designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. But wait, there's more. It's time to follow the money. We'll explain. Plus, exposed. While the country continues to mourn the assassination of Charlie Kirk, some in the academic world have celebrated it and are now feeling the consequences. The punishment details are ahead. And finally, crime crackdown. President Trump recently announced Memphis is the next city to be brought under control. Reaction ahead with Senator Marsha Blackburn. Coming next on American Sunrise. Let's go. Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina. Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Gina. We are live with you from the Palm Beaches. Let's bring in David Brody. He's in Washington, D.C., and Terrence Bates in our Denver newsroom. Good morning, gentlemen.
Hello, Gina. T.
Dr. Gina and David, good morning. David, I don't appreciate you starting the morning scooping me. The first tease that you read this morning had to do with Antifa, and I want to talk a little bit more about that because President Trump, as you said, is designating Antifa a domestic terror group. Here's the Truth Social post, the thing that stands out to me, the president calling Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster. That's just part of it. Dr. Gina, though, as I read this last night, I chuckled and thought of you because the president also ending that post saying that he wants to go after the people who are funding Antifa and he wants them to be investigated. And you always say, follow the money, Dr. Gina.
Yeah, this is really good news, Terrence. And I speak as someone who has been designated as a terrorist before by the left. I was on the terror watch list during, of course, COVID and all of that. Simply for supporting the president, as best I know. No one really ever gave me a reason because the left doesn't feel like they need to. But so this is actually really good to see. And I want conservatives to bear one thing in mind too. Those things that we do during this administration is that we support as we're considering what we can do, for example, about hate speech, right? They can flip on you in one administration. And this is a perfect example of that. The Democrats should have thought of this while they were doing things like going around and making innocent people terrorists. Many of the people we have on this program have been designated as terrorists, were unable to fly, had many of their liberties taken away. It was all in an effort to shut them up, right, to have them not express their opinions. But you're right, Terrence, the follow the money part is really, really key here. Because if we can defund somehow these NGOs that have operated really as terrorists against the American people for all of these years in so many ways, this would be amazing. This wouldn't just apply to groups like Antifa, for example, David Brody. It would apply to NGOs like the Red Cross, Catholic Charities, others who if it can be proven that they participated in harboring illegal immigrants, David.
Well, and that's the most interesting part of this, that there's so many other shoes that will drop, and these shoes are going to have money in them. And now we wait to see if indeed the Trump administration makes good on that promise. You know they want to. The question is they got to connect the dots legally and otherwise.
Yes.
I remember Joe Biden in 2020 calling Antifa an idea. Remember that? He called it an idea.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, well now an idea is a domestic terrorist threat and an operation that we are going to label them as a domestic terrorism organization. So, Joe, go ride your bike. And by the way, let me just say, to quote President Trump, thank you for your attention to this matter. We appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a great quote. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, and I think you make such a solid point, too. There are so many great ideas out there. My husband always says to my children, tell me how you would write the law. You're right, David. That's the tricky part.
That's right. All right.
All right,
Bible
Dr.
time.
Gina, we're going to talk much more about this. Yeah, would you get us to our Bible verse really quickly?
Colossians 3:23 is the name of the game today, and it says, and whatever you do, do it heartily. Actually quoted this on air yesterday on the show. As to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ. And I tell this to my children all the time when they're complaining about having to do menial tasks or having to do starter jobs in high school, right? Things like that. I say, whatever you do, do it unto the Lord, because that's when he broadens your territory. Even if you don't like it sometimes, it's important to do it well. As the country continues to mourn the loss of Charlie Kirk, some continue making hateful remarks about his assassination and have lost their jobs. This report in the Nashville Banner lays out how two professors at universities in the state, one was at Austin Pay State University, who posted a 2-year-old story about comments Kirk made about guns. Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn then posted on Facebook asking what the school would do. The professor was then fired, with the university stating that the post was insensitive and interpreted by some as a justification of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. For more, let's bring in that senator, Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn, who's always in the middle of the fight. Senator, I do want to get to all of this because words have become such a political banter in this season of our nation. But I want to talk to you briefly about someplace where a lot of words are being generated, because you were in that, and I talked to you before you got on the show. I didn't know this before. This wasn't what I was going to ask you before. But you were in that hearing yesterday with parents talking about losing their children to AI bots coming in alongside children and telling them, supporting them in their suicidal ideations, resulting in actual suicides, supporting them in self-harm. As these bots have come into relationships with our children, and sometimes the most supportive relationship they'll have in their life, because they're going to agree with them on everything, right? I'm really nervous after hearing that, some of that hearing testimony yesterday by parents, that this is the next fentanyl demon we have to fight in our culture. Tell us, Senator.
Well, indeed it is. And I held a hearing on the Metaverse and what is happening with these avatars, and the fact that young children are using this Oculus system from Meta. And we had 2 whistleblowers come from Meta. And Gina, we've had a total of 6 whistleblowers, 2 that were before us, 2 that are not yet public, pardon me, and 2 more that still work with Meta. And when something happens to your avatar, the children physiologically react the same as if it were happening to them in the physical world. And they're not separating the reality. So that is what is happening in the metaverse. And children are then committing suicide. They are going into deep depressions. They're experiencing anxieties. Now, the other part of this is the chatbots. That was a separate hearing, and Senator Hawley led that hearing. Mm-hmm. What is happening with the chatbots is character AI and ChatGPT. They have these chatbots that do sensual and sexually explicit conversations with the children. Then they encourage the child into self-harm. And this has got to be dealt with. What we have learned is that when children are in the virtual space, they're the product. And these big tech companies have no desire to protect children, even though we know from the whistleblowers that were at the first hearing that they have done the research, and that Meta, Google, Snap, Discord, all of these companies try to hide the findings from the research. The whistleblowers from Meta said the legal team had even instructed them to delete certain conversations, to not push forward certain research that they had done. So the whistleblowers, knowing this is devastating to a child's life, have reached out, and they're working with us. Of course, Senator Blumenthal and I have had the Kids Online Safety Act for 5 years, and big tech has fought the passage of that. We got it through the Senate last year on a 91-3 vote. We're waiting for the House to take it up. It is imperative that these social media platforms be required to have a duty of care, that they do safety by design, that they have a readily available toolbox for parents and kids to be able to de-link from these algorithms so that the virtual space can be a safe space for all of our children.
Just absolutely crucial. We could spend 2 hours talking about this.
Yes.
Let me move on real quick because we've got about a minute and a half left, but I've got to get to Memphis and the National Guard. And of course, here comes the National Guard. I kind of feel like Tennessee wins the National Guard lottery. How'd you guys get to the front of the line here? Explain it, Senator Blackburn, because obviously Memphis is in a lot of trouble there from a crime perspective, but somehow Memphis jumped to the top. We had Baltimore, Chicago, but they're starting there in Memphis. Explain that real quick. Got about a minute left.
Yes, indeed. Kash Patel came before us at Judiciary Committee for his hearing before he was put in as the FBI director. I gave him the stat sheet from crime in Memphis, and I said, I need your help with Memphis. He agreed to do that. He's been true to his word. During the summer, without any fanfare, we had an FBI surge in Memphis. They apprehended more than 500 gang members, 118 firearms, and have now over 100 indictments. This is a phase 2 to bring in extra resources from the Guard, from ATF, DEA, U.S.Marshals, Homeland Security to back up Memphis while they sustain this work to get these gangs under control. Memphis is short 800 police officers. So this will allow police to do that good work while these other federal agencies step in and help relieve some of the paperwork, traffic duty, logistics, apprehensions through the DEA and the ATF. And we are determined to make Memphis safe again. It is a wonderful city. And I will add this, David, one thing people don't readily think about. Memphis is our nation's logistics hub here on the east side of the country. I-40 from east to west, and then you have FedEx, the Port of Memphis, and all 5 Class A railroads are in Memphis. Cargo theft over the last 4 years has increased 5,000%.
Wow.
So the gangs are committing this theft, and of course, then they're using those funds to actually go in and fund their activities. So getting these gangs out of Memphis will stabilize the situation. And we want Memphis to return to being a very safe city. And we look forward to that.
Senator, got to run 10 seconds or less, just one sentence. When do we expect the National Guard on the ground in Memphis specifically?
That is the governor's call.
Okay. Appreciate you. Thank you
Here's
so much
your
for
sentence,
being
sir. Nice job, Senator Blackburn.
Very
Senator.
nice. That was short and sweet,
Yes.
Senator Blackburn. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
We've got some breaking news here. Let's take a look here. And I believe do we have something here or no, guys? It's President Trump. And let's just double check. Give me some information in my ear. See what we're seeing here. But this is obviously the UK. President Trump, is walking in with Keir Starmer, of course, the head of Great Britain. And so we're just going to monitor this. I'll double check, guys, here live on the air. Is this live or is this tape? Just double checking. I'm assuming it's live. But we will look. There is the president, who, of course, is with Keir Starmer. And now they are coming to the microphones. Let's listen in for a little bit.
Thank you very much, and very nice to see you all. And Mr. President, let me welcome you again for this unprecedented second state visit. And it's a great pleasure for me personally to welcome you to my home from home here at Chequers. And thank you very much for taking the time to say hello to the staff, who are they've done a brilliant job, and they've been preparing for weeks and it's really so good to have you here. So thank you so much. You are among friends, and I think we all agree there's so much to celebrate in the special relationship between our two countries. By standing together in war and in peace, this bond is the very foundation of our security, our freedom, and our prosperity. But what is the relationship all about when it comes down to brass tacks? It comes down to leaders, of course, leaders who respect each other, leaders who genuinely like each other. And it comes down to our unique relationship on defence, the closest the world has ever seen. It comes down to the connections between our people, ties of family and friendship. The President himself is a shining example of that. But it also comes down to business, to all of you here, and thank you so much for coming here this afternoon. It's fantastic to have you with us as the best evidence of that people-to-people, business-to-business relationship that thrives in the special relationship. In so many ways, this story is a story about enterprise. The US is our single biggest, largest trading partner. Companies like BP, GSK, Rolls-Royce, and AstraZeneca employ thousands of people in the United States. American companies like Microsoft, Citigroup, Boeing, Amazon, and Blackstone do the same here. Together, we support over 2.5 million jobs across both economies. So this relationship is embodied in each and every one of you here today. We have, if you like, the great and the good of British and American business sitting with us. Leading lights in tech like Jensen, Ruth, Demis and Satya. Finance, Jane, Larry and Steve. And of course in pharma, in defence, energy and manufacturing. It is really great to see you all again, I should say, because of course we were together yesterday and we know each other very, very well, which is exactly as it should be. And just look at what we're achieving today together. The deals and investment that you're announcing today break all records. What a day. £250 billion flowing both ways across the Atlantic. It is the biggest investment package of its kind in British history by a country mile. So thank you so much for your contribution on your part in that as the embodiment of that special relationship. And let me spell out what that means. It means life-changing investments across the United Kingdom. It's expected to create 15,000 jobs in Belfast, in Birmingham, Hartlepool, the Humber, and well beyond. It means thousands of working people will feel and will be better off. And it shows the potency of this partnership. US capital and entrepreneurial spirit combined with British ideas and ingenuity. The UK is one of the world's largest economies. Maybe not quite on the scale of the United States, I concede, but my word, we punch above our weight. And we lead the world in expertise on quantum, on AI, life sciences, financial services, and more. We have the only trillion-dollar tech sector in the West, outside of the US, again, I caveat. We have the best investment, the best universities, the most Nobel Prizes, and we have Demis here, outside the US. That's what we bring to the table, and we are proud of it. That's why we both benefit from this incredible relationship. Look at the economic prosperity deal that we struck back in May. It was the first trade deal that the President made. And yes, it was the best deal as well. We have the lowest tariffs in the world in vital sectors, and that is some achievement. It was a tough negotiation, but we did it for a reason. Because it's a win for both sides. And because we knew that by working together, we could deliver more for working people. we could help the businesses here today to thrive and help you create good, well-paid jobs in communities up and down our country. And ultimately, that is the test of the special relationship. How much it delivers for honest, hard-working people to make them safer and better off. We've already taken a big steps forward, and we're going further today, much further. In a moment, the President and I will sign our groundbreaking new technology partnership, the Tech Prosperity Deal. It's a blueprint to win this new era together, shape it according to our shared values, and seize the incredible opportunities that are on offer. I want to thank all of you for supporting this vision. We have huge new investments from NVIDIA, Nscale, OpenAI, Google, Salesforce, and many more, backing cutting-edge British jobs for years to come. And of course, tech needs energy. So to fuel this revolution, we've struck a new deal on civil nuclear power. We discussed this, Mr. President, last time we were together, and the opportunities we had. Generating energy for millions of homes and businesses, driving down bills on both sides of the Atlantic, and driving up energy security. So I want to thank everybody here for supporting this too, with brilliant job-creating investments from Momentum and others, including building up to 12 advanced nuclear reactors in the northeast. So this is a great day for the special relationship, a celebration of what has gone before, of course, but more than that, a moment to deliver investments, jobs, and deals which will improve people's lives now and light up the special relationship for years to come. So thank you all. And now it is my pleasure to hand the floor to my friend, our friend, President Trump.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And great job. Well, this is a very distinguished group. I can tell you that's what I do for a living. It was before politics. I would have to deal with you, and you are the best. You're the best in the world, and you're here. And it's an honor to have all of these great leaders. Really an honor. But I'm sincerely grateful to Prime Minister Starmer and Lady Starmer for welcoming us to this very special home, this beautiful place. And I was here a number of years ago, but somehow today it looks even better, even more beautiful, and even more historic. Melania and I are forever thankful to His Majesty King Charles III and Her Majesty Queen Camilla. We had a fantastic evening last night. But the exquisite honor of a second official state visit, the first ever, it's the first time it's ever been done, was, really was an honor. Such great history, and to think it's a first. It's always nice to have a first. But the ties between our countries are priceless, and it's really an inheritance. It's a beautiful inheritance. Today we're making those ties closer than ever before. We've done some things that financially are great for both countries, and we work together, and it keeps us together, and I think it's an unbreakable bond we have, regardless of what we're doing today. I think it's unbreakable. But this is very big, and I want to thank all of the incredibly talented business leaders, the best in the world, biggest in the world, here this afternoon for investing in the Anglo-American Alliance, and you personify an important part of the unique national bond and really a world bond. What you've done is incredible. Our two countries do a great deal of business together. $340 billion last year was the number. In May, the United Kingdom became the first country to make a trade deal with the United States during my second term, and we sort of wanted to make it the first because the bond is so strong and the relationship so long. That agreement will create billions of dollars in opportunities for American farmers to sell their products into the UK, reduce barriers to trade, and give the U.S. manufacturers better access to the UK's world-class aerospace supply chain, which is really is world-class. A lot of people don't understand it, the importance of that
particular asset that you have. It's a beautiful job you've done. There's no more natural partnership in the world. Together, we're building up the industrial capacity of both of our countries, which is crucial to our defense. And we work so well together in defense. I met so many of the leaders of your defending group, and many of them I've known by name, but now I know them pretty well. We had some very good meetings today and yesterday. So we're taking the next logical step with a historic agreement on science and technology partnerships, and this will create new government, academic, and private sector cooperation in areas such as AI, which is taking over the world. I'm looking at you guys. You're taking over the world, Jensen. I don't know what you're doing here. I hope you're right. All I can say is we both hope you're right. But it's pretty amazing. Quantum computing, fusion, 6G, and civil nuclear energy, and align our nations through the approach of centered deregulation and innovation. And we're going to have a lot of deregulation and a tremendous amount of innovation. It's just happening. But this new accord is already helping spur a massive wave of private sector deals worth over $350 billion alone, headlined by a $136 billion from Blackstone. That's very nice. Steve, thank you. That's why you have that location, I think. It's considered the best seat of the year. Yours is pretty good too, Jensen. That's good. That's great, Steve. You know what you're doing better than anybody. American company X Energy and British company Centrica has been announcing, and really for a long while they've been talking about this deal, the deployment of modular nuclear reactors across the UK, all across the UK. It's been in the wind for a couple of years, and now we're getting it done, generating more than $50 billion in economic value, creating up to 2,500 jobs, and powering 1.5 million homes. That's a lot of homes. 7 decades after British genius Alan Turing pioneered the field, this agreement will also help America and our British allies dominate the future of artificial intelligence. You need the energy. You have to have the energy. That's one thing I learned very quickly. They need a lot of electricity. In the United States, you need double what we have right now just to maintain that fight. We're right now, and I want to say, leading China and the world by a lot in AI, a lot. And we're creating tremendous amounts of energy and letting you create your own electricity in many, many cases. And we're giving you very rapid approvals. We're getting them approvals like they've never seen before. They used to wait 15 and 20 years to be rejected. Now they wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks to be accepted. That's a pretty big difference. And at the same time, we always have the environment in mind, but we move them along. But we're committed to ensuring that you have secure and reliable sources of American AI and quantum technology. We intend to always be the UK's strongest, closest, and most trusted business partner. Very important to us. The relationship is very important. 1 year ago, our country was in serious trouble. The King of Saudi Arabia, a great gentleman, you all know him. He said, "Sir, your country was dead 1 year ago, and now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world," and it's true. We'll have more than $17 trillion invested in our country this year, 17 trillion, which is many, many times what we had last year, and we're only in our just about almost 9th month, it's moving along quickly. It's amazing. I was saying we're in our 3rd month, our 4th month, our 5th month, but we're at, it's going to be over $17 trillion. No country has ever had anything like that, even close. GDP last quarter was 3.3%. Despite all of the things we're doing, one of the things we're doing, which I'm very proud of, is the border. We now have a totally closed border, totally secure for 3 months. 0 people came into our country, bad people. And they come in, but they have to come in legally. We have a great process going. And inflation is virtually non-existent. As you know, we're taking in trillions of dollars from tariffs, and they've been so incredible for our country, so incredible. We're keeping our companies happy. We're keeping them solid and sane, and they're very very thrilled at what's happened. They can't even believe it. And we've never seen investment like this. Without the tariffs, we would have just a fraction of that. And we're really the only one that can do tariffs. Nobody else is able to do them. With us, it works because people have to be there. But we've slashed 30-year-old regulations. And as you know, in my first term, we had a very successful first term. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And we had the biggest regulation cut in the history of our country. And now we're doing it again. We're slashing them at a level that is even beyond what we did in the first term. The first term, we did more regulation cutting by 4 times at any other time that any other country has done or that we've done. And we think we're going to exceed that this time. And we'll have regulation, but it'll be sane regulation. It'll be regulation that allows you to compete and do your thing, or regulations that you're able to get around and do things and you no longer have that regulation. But we slashed regulations at a level that's never been done before, and we're doing it at the same level right now. I recently signed the largest tax cuts in our country's history, and the bill includes a 100% expensing for investments in equipment and factories. Nobody's ever seen anything like that, and it lasts for a 10-year period, so it's going to be there for a while. But the countries and companies are coming into our country for the expensing aspect of the bill. It was in I call it the big, beautiful bill, the great, big, beautiful bill. We got so much, the largest bill ever passed in the history of our country. In fact, so big that we really don't have to pass too much anymore. We can just do this for 4 years, implement. You know, I like to implement because the bills are wonderful, but you have to implement. But the expensing is going to be the reason, I think, that bigger than anything else, when you have 1 year expensing, you can write everything off in the first year, including structure. So you didn't even have that in the first bill. I think it was the biggest factor in the first bill why it led to such growth. And this is actually a better form of expensing, and it's actually more significant. So today, America is strong. Our economy is, I think, potentially the strongest it's ever been. We'll see very soon those big places that are being built all over the country. Car companies are moving in. AI is moving in. Everybody's coming in. They all want to be here. The drug companies are coming back. They all want to be there. They sort of have to be there, but they want to be there. But with this agreement, our cherished friendship with the United Kingdom is getting stronger and stronger. And again, I want to thank the Prime Minister. He worked very hard on this and getting this deal done. This is long in the making. They've been talking about it for a long time, and we got it done. And it's a real honor to be with you. And thank you very much. Thank you. Sign this, Howard? Where's Scott? Did I sign this? Are you sure, Scott? If the deal's no good, I'm blaming you, Scott.
That'd be great.
It's a great honor. Okay, hold that up. Yeah.
Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, we're now going to take some contributions from our distinguished guests from the business community, starting with Demis Hassabis, the co-founder and CEO of DeepMind.
Thanks, Varun. It's a huge pleasure and honor to be here today. And thank you, Mr. President and Prime Minister, for your fantastic leadership on the US-UK tech prosperity deal. This partnership builds on a rich heritage of scientific collaboration between our two great nations, pushing forwards the frontiers of human knowledge and technical innovation. The fruits of that historical partnership, from inventing the frontiers of human knowledge and technical innovation. The fruits of that historical partnership, from inventing the World Wide Web to mapping the human genome, have gone on to benefit all of humanity. In many ways, Google DeepMind, the frontier AI lab that I lead, is the modern embodiment of this wonderful transatlantic spirit of cooperation. With our two major research offices in London and California, now comprising the engine room of Google and powering all of its...
All right, you've been listening to a pseudo press conference, more like a signing deal with a few pre-planned questions. We expect President Trump to hold a full throttled press conference, possibly with Keir Starmer later, but we'll see. For now, we're breaking away because obviously we got the news, a big deal, specifically as I look at my notes, put on my glasses, it's investment, tech investment, steel tariffs, and it's money. And money into America, money into UK. For more, let's bring an AMAC spokesman, also a former Assistant Secretary of State. Now, by the way, he's running for governor in the great state of Maine. Did I say by the way? That'd be Bobby Charles. I may have buried the lead, Bobby. Thanks for being here. So what do you think? Some of the comments by both Keir Starmer and President Trump. Once again, Trump's on the world stage making deals.
He is, a couple things that, as I watched all of that unfold come to my mind. First, American leadership is back. He sets the stage. And, if you set the agenda and look at the world difference between what's happened in the first, several months of his administration and the entirety of the Obama or Biden administration. It's just extraordinary leadership. And the second thing, and I spent 2 years living in England, I find it fascinating that it reflects an understanding of the truly historic special relationship we have with this World War II ally and long-standing. We come from them, and they are very attentive to our leadership on the world stage. I also thought the interesting thing is, I noticed that the Prime Minister mentioned that they were leaders in technology and that they had Nobel Prize winners there. And it always comes back to me, and I won't get the exact numbers right, but it always startles me when I think people don't understand that America is truly unique in the world, and Great Britain is sort of right behind us. We are unique in the world because we're risk takers. We're risk takers in the military. We're risk takers in business. We're risk takers. And so, to put it differently, America is not an accident. It is a product of extraordinary commitment and risk-taking over generations. And there's a reason why we have 409, I think it's 409 Nobel Prizes, and China has 9. We are risk takers, and we believe in the idea that business and the private sector need to be empowered, that we need free markets, and freedom is really the way in which you go forward, whether it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, whether it's your freedom of faith, your freedom to choose how you want to live your life and where you want to live it, and the Bill of Rights, or it's the freedom of our markets. So AMAC, of course, fights for that every day.
Yeah, it really is something to see on the world stage. I couldn't help but notice just the mere presence of President Trump is so much larger than life. Then when they both signed the paperwork there and exchanged it, I could only see President Trump's. I couldn't see anything else on that page. And you could see President Trump's probably if you were, looking pretty well from Canada. So it really is such a different moment for us in history. Do you think that it is just the election of President Trump that has changed so much of the world that they really are being sincerely respectful to him? Or is this just a show? Because many in our chat are saying they just feel like they want money. This has nothing to do, they look at the influx of illegal immigration and the Islamist Sharia law that has built itself very well there. What do you see? What's your landscape for us?
I've been around presidents, and I will tell you that I feel that what you're witnessing there on that stage is both the power of the policies and the power of the person. Not to put too fine a point on it, but sometimes a person will walk into a room, and President Trump is this person. He will walk into a room and the entire room changes not because of the power or the title, but because of the authority and the strength of the man. That was true of certain military leaders. It's been true of certain presidents. It's true of certain leaders on the world stage historically. When Winston Churchill walked into a room, no doubt, the room paid enormous attention. I think it's the fact that Donald Trump has weathered every storm and safely found a port after every storm, whether it's lawfare or something else, assassination attempts. This is a man who is, you almost get the feeling that he's a man of destiny, that this is really something where if you fall in behind this man, the world will be led to a better place. And I think that the epic moments in what we know as world history are, in my view, defined by men and women. I think that Ronald Reagan changed the face of the world by the conviction that he had that it could be done, should be done, needed to be done. And I believe that Donald Trump is doing that today. And frankly, on a much smaller scale up here in Maine, we have a lot of challenges ahead of us. And there is a sense up here that people are sick and tired of being led by bad leaders, and that they really want a turn of the page, a freshness that allows them to get their freedoms back. And again, it's the same freedoms. It's the freedom associated with our economy, which has been heavily overregulated. And I noted all the regulations being cut by President Trump. It's the fact that our safety, our public safety. I was just up at the northern border and will be again. It's our public safety that's under threat, illegal aliens and drugs. And so here's a president who is literally walking the walk. He's talking the talk. He's doing what he says he will do. And by God, we love those people.
Bobby, you mentioned that you were at the northern border, so I do want to switch a little bit and talk about what you experienced at the northern border and talk about some of the challenges you see there at the northern border. Obviously, your state is there. And I asked that question in the context of so much of our focus are the problems at the southern border, but there is a northern border where there are also people coming across illegally.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, I guess my concern, and whether it was Reagan or other experiences, I was always encouraged to look around corners, try to anticipate what's going to happen next, and it's the best way to live. And so, our southern border, we're doing great things. We're shutting it down, and we're feeling a greater sense of safety. President Trump is doing things I never imagined any president would do, which is to actually go after the fentanyl traffickers with a vengeance. Well, it's like the balloon theory, right? If you push here, it's going to come out over there. And right now on the northern border, having just been at 3 spots up there, the northern border is really it's the next big war zone. And I think we have to be aware of that. And so I spent time with CBP and DEA, and I'll spend some more time, no doubt, in the future, trying to understand what they need, what they don't have, the penetration. I won't go through all the facts here, but we've had significant penetrations. They've been big. And so I think we just are trying to protect.
Bobby Charles, great insight as always. Love having you on, especially in breaking news situations, because I believe you're the utility player in baseball. You can play all positions. So we appreciate. We appreciate.
I appreciate that. I try.
All right. Today at shortstop, Bobby Charles. All right. We have more American Sunrise after the break, everybody.